I suppose there are no questions, so we'll proceed first with our first reactor, Professor Nguyen. I'm very grateful to him. I know he's extremely busy. He is top sociologist of Vietnam, and he was also a keynote speaker of ours in the APSA 2012 conference. So I am very grateful to you, Anne, for sharing your time and your insights with us. As I said to you this morning, I'm just interested in the Vietnam Academy of Social Sciences knowledge, and I know you're doing many researches there. So thank you very much, Dangan. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good morning from Vietnam. Thank you, Professor Emma, and the meeting organizers for inviting me to this meeting. I would like to spend about a few minutes talking about the experience of Vietnam, but I have to say that the experience of Thailand and Philippines on climate change and community resilience is very useful for us, because from the four speaker presentation, I found a lot of things relevant for Vietnam. So let me spend some slides for you. Next, please. If we talk about climate change impacts in Vietnam, I have to say that Vietnam is also one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change. It ranked number 6 compared to Philippines. It's ranked number 9. I heard from you. And also the climate change now affects about 74% of the populations. That is by the UNDP report. Of course, they are different. The population may include the different groups. So, but the poor are the most affected by the climate shocks. You can find in many areas of Vietnam, especially in the coastal area and cities, the problem of frequent floodings, and also rising sea levels and erosion of coastal areas, the loss of land, the loss of assets, as well as the infrastructures by climate impacts. So with the COVID pandemic hit seriously in the south of Vietnam, it also increased the multiple risks, not only poverty, climate change, but also the health, as well as the pandemics and the life of the people. Next, please. If we talk about the equity or inequity under climate change in Vietnam, we found a lot of issues, and I am happy to hear from the speaker about this dimension in our sections. The risk of climate change, of course, we know that is not spread equally among people in city, in state, in province, and that's easy to recognize. But the most thing we found in all the study is the harming vulnerable groups. They are most affected and facing a lot of the economic and health hardships from climate shocks. We know that that is unfair, because they are least responsible for climate change emissions, but they are most affected disproportionately, and the community and the people in Vietnam, especially in the Mekong Delta, are facing climate emergency today. So not only the King people, but also the ethnic group like the Khmer, like the Cham people also affected, and the well-being of the people are seriously impacted by climate change. So I have to say that a lot of study have to look at this. Next, please. And how about the protection of the people under this vulnerability? I think the Vietnamese government is making great efforts with the NGOs in responding to not only to the climate shocks, but also recently to the COVID pandemic, because that's also affect the same area of the Mekong Delta and other part of the southern Vietnam. We support the most vulnerable groups under the both impacts of COVID as well as by climate change. The service we provide include the social security, social protections, and food and housings and etc. to buffer the impact of the between the impact as well as the resilience in the community. And also we provide the family with a lot of support to better prepare for the to withstand for the climate shocks. But I have to say that different modern, different areas and different initiative has been applied in this exercise. Next, please. And I got to say that from your paper today, I found a lot of major and policy innovations. But in Vietnam, we look at the three areas. What we call by integrated response to the climate change. The first one is raising awareness, because not all people understand the impact of climate change and how to build the resilience. We mobilize the family and also the young people, the community, to raise awareness and information provisions to understand the effects of natural disaster. We also use the drama, the plays like the Philippines, the toolkits to raise the awareness. But also at the same time, we have to keep them safe. Safe by what? By doing the modern, like a safe school modern, safe housing modern, and the community-based protection system. By community-based protection system, we highlight the three areas. One, you have to use a human resource, and human resource in the locality. We use resource, financial resource to support and then to implement the plans, and as well as to use the social capital system. That means very much sociological to support each other and to extend the networks on different levels to cope with the climate impacts. And as the last thing is to promote the livelihoods. You know, in the Mekong Delta as well as the impact areas, we facilitate the production of paddy rice as well as to raise a stream for export and for consumption. And that works very well for the food security. So far in the area impacted by the climate change, people still have a good food and also have a good livelihoods. The only thing they affect is housing, the COVID pandemics, as well as infrastructures. This is the badly impacted and affected by the climate change. So I found the situation in Thailand as well as in Philippines are very interesting and useful for the Vietnamese partner to learn and to share the experience. So let me stop here because I have only a few minutes.